All right, guys, and welcome to episode number 7 of my Out of the Park Baseball 21 series with the San Francisco Giants. It is draft time. There's been some good, there's been some bad. We are 33 and 24, which is good for first place in the NL Central. That's some of the good. Excuse me. Um, Yeah, 33 and 24. We're 2 games up on the Giants. 7 and 3 in our last 10, so we are playing better. Some of the bad, a couple of injuries, most noticeably Noah Syndergaard, who is out for the next 3 months. We will get him back sometime in September. He wasn't very good when he was here, 2 and 4 with a 6.62 ERA. So maybe he was injured before he stopped pitching. His ratings are still good, so I'm hoping he can just hang tight and we'll get him back at the end of the year. Some more bad. Mookie Betts hasn't been playing all that well. 231, 11 homers, 30 RBIs. Still playing pretty good defense out in right field. The power's there. The average is just light. So I suspect that this will bounce back because, he said career for everything. So I suspect that it'll bounce back, even if he ends up kind of worst case scenario, worst year with St. Louis or something like that. So we'll see. But that's some of the bad. Well, let's take a look at the lineups first, and we'll just kind of go through and we'll do a review and we'll look at what's good. So Keston Hiura has been very good. 314, 393, 562, up almost a 1,000 OPS. Good for 2.1 WAR, 11 home runs, 27 knocked in. He's been very, very good this year in that number 2 hole. Adam Hazley's been hurt, but when he's been playing, he's been superb. 327, 406, 544, giving us exactly what we need out of the leadoff spot. Matt Olson continues to do Matt Olson things, hit a lot of home runs, knock in a lot of runs, not hit for a super high average. Daz Cameron has slid into that fourth outfielder role really nicely. He's actually hitting. His defense in left field hasn't improved like I would have liked so far, but he's hitting really well, playing good defense, doing a nice job. Joey Bart is doing a nice job as well. That average is still a little light, but 700 OPS. Sorry about that. One of these days I'll remember. Shut my email. Good for 1 WAR so far on the season. Talked about Mookie. Eloy Jimenez, the average is light, but 14 home runs, 39 knocked in, 490 slugging. He's coming around. George Valera, very limited playing time, but doing really well. 3 home runs already in only 23 games. Luis Garcia, struggling a bit this year. He's never going to hit a lot of home runs, but the average is about 30 points off of where we need him to be. It's about 30 points off of last year. Everything's down about 30 or 40. So hopefully back. Frieda Smith and Logan Wyatt all have had limited playing time. And then Javi Baez is having another rough start to the season. 5 home runs, 21 knocked in, 66 strikeouts to only 10 walks. He's still playing good defensive shortstop, but that offense isn't going to cut it. So we're gonna need more out of Javi here. So hopefully he bounce back. Last year, pitching wise, biggest surprise here has been Emilio Vargas. He stepped in when Syndergaard went down with an injury, and he's 7-0 with a 1.08 ERA. It's actually 42 hits, 50 innings pitched, only 1 home run, only 5 walks to 42 strikeouts. His FIP is a 210, so even his FIP says he's pitching really well, but 0.2 home runs per 9, 0.9 walks per 9, 8.4 Ks per walk. He's been a lifesaver. Blake Snell has been phenomenal, 93 strikeouts in 72 innings, already good for 2.6 WAR. Corbin Martin is having a pretty good season. He's actually pitching worse than his FIP. Sorry. Happens. Try to do this on your lunch break. Last year it was the other way around. His ERA was higher than his FIP, or his FIP was higher than his ERA. This year it's the other way around. our bullpen's been lights out for the most part. Jorge Molina, 1.27 ERA, 0.85 FIP for Molina. Rick Scubal has been really good this year, and we've been leaning on him. 35 innings pitched already, 51 strikeouts. Austin Adams has been really good. Jairo Diaz has been really good. Don has been really good. Miguel Castro has been good. Anthony Kay's been not great, and Luis Castillo, our import from Cincinnati, has been not great. So, um, couple of starting pitchers doing really, really well. Our bullpen, for the most part, doing really, really well. We just have a couple players on offense, couple players on defense that are struggling, and that's why we're not, frankly, why we're not running away with this thing. So we're still in good shape financially. We're still seeing an uptick in revenue per game, which is what we need if we want any chance of bringing Snell back. So it is, I think, time for the draft, and it looks like it's actually a pretty good draft this year. If you look at the mock draft, it has us taking Tristan Grandison, who that's that's a good middle infield. That's a leadoff hitter right there. So if he falls to us, I mean, he's great defensively already. So, yeah. So let's get to the draft. Pick us. All right, so let's see what is available. So we have a couple of decent. This guy's not a reliever. This guy is a starter. I think. Sorry, had to sneeze. I think Parker Ball is going to be the pick. Let's take a look at batters just to be safe, but that seems like a no-brainer to me. There are some decent bats in here too. I mean, none of them are going to be around when it comes back around to me. It's okay. I think it's Parker Ball. I think it's Parker Ball, and we make him a starter immediately. It seems like a no-brainer. So back to us. Yeah, most of those bats are gone, which is to be expected. It's fine. I go. Sure, again. Sure. Starter there, the Beckery's. Four good pitches. High school pitches are so hit or miss, but really good numbers. Four decent pitches. Only 18. He already throws 94 to 96. He's a ground ball pitcher. That works for me. He actually looks actually like him. Actually like him. All right. Continue with pitchers. Two. 19-year-old, really good control, three good pitches. Yeah, we're gonna go with Greg Cohen. It's available here. Let's go. There's batting potential. See if we have any our hitters. Doesn't appear that we're Oglemuth. Oglemuth. Terrible. Oglemuth, actually. Yep, Edwin Velasco. Terrible hitter. Good defensive outfielder. Now we can take Oglemuth. Era instead. I think we do. play a bunch of different positions. Era. A little bit of money, but that's fine. Now we're going to take it, and we'll call it a draft. All right, well, that works. I'm pretty happy with that draft. Negotiate. Parker Ball all the money. Morton his money. And we're able to go over slot a little bit because we got some extra money. Have the money worked kind of baked to the draft budget. Ball. Keep an eye on him because I'm a starter as soon as. I mean, some of the peripherals aren't great. He only threw 87 to 89. He's a fly ball pitcher. Already 22, so there's some room for growth. He may not make it to 6, but I mean, those are starters numbers. Those are real starters. So, to Vogelman. Let's make him batter. Fielder. And all of a sudden he's 2 stars. So still not great, but better than 1 star. All right, we are going to sim ahead to international free agency. Corbin Burns should be coming back right around then. I'm not sure what we're going to do with him as his ratings have started to drop precipitously. But we'll see. So we will be back in. Yeah, for you guys, it'll be a split second. For me, it'll be however long it is. So, stay. All right, it is July 2nd. That means it is international free agency period. Let's take a look. We got our player update with that. So let's look at Syndergaard's starting to drop a tad. It's okay. Nothing there. Just a little bit of stuff control for the months. A lot of negatives on here. Not great. Logan Wyatt increased a bit. McAble starting to get a little better. Maybe his improvement was just delayed. Maybe he's just on a different scale, but he's back up to 2.5 stars. Still not quite the number 8 pick or whatever it was when we took him, but those ratings are okay, and he's still only 21. 2 A+ pitches, an average curveball, and decent stuff, movement control. So he could work out yet. Beyond that, nothing significant. Scenario starting to drop. Might be somebody trade bait. So we said 51 and 31. We're still in first place. It is pretty close, actually. The NL West is a tight race right now between us and the Dodgers. 2.5 games up on the Dodgers, 9.5 up on the Padres. Let's look at the offense and defense really quick, and we'll do the draft, and then we'll look at potentially what we need to improve the club. So if we look here, Keston Hiura continues to just have a great season, 3.4, still OPS close to 1,000. And it's the same names as before. Adam Hazley still posting a 400 on base percentage. Matt Olson up to 22 home runs, on pace for 43, 115. I will take that. Mookie is he had been starting to hit. His average was up over 260, but it's now dropped down to 6 again. Pretty good June, 275, 345, 559. So if he can replicate that here moving forward, I'll be content. So pretty good month for Mookie last month. He's up to 1.8 WAR as of now. Joey Bart, same deal as before, low average, but playing good defense. Das Cameron's continuing to play well in limited playing time. Jimenez, his average has started to climb as well. He's up to almost 260, 15 home runs. He's doing a nice job. And then you got everybody else. Garcia still providing some doubles power, if not much else. His average is climbing a tad. And then, yeah, Javi Baez still batting under 190. But he's somehow still a positive WAR player because of defense. Pitching, we're still looking really, really solid with the exception of Luis Castillo. It's a little weird. I mean, his issue is the home runs. He's giving up 2.4 home runs per nine. Everything else is pretty decent. 306 BABIP is pretty average. He's struck out 74, walked only 25. It's really the home run. So if he can figure out a way to cut back on the home runs here a little bit, he should have a pretty good second half of the season. I'm going to call out Tariq Skubal, who's just been an absolute monster this year. 47 and a third innings, 63 strikeouts, 1.52 ERA. He's been great. We've used him a lot. You can see he's already pitched 47 innings. But yeah, Jorge Molina continuing to have a solid season for us, 22 saves already, 51 Ks to only 5 walks there. It's a nice ratio. Blake Snell, Corbin Martin, and Emilio Vargas continue to pitch well for us. Vargas has slipped a bit here, but couldn't expect him to maintain a 1.08 ERA. We do have Corbin Burns on a rehab assignment. And his ratings have dropped even more, which is a little concerning. Looks like that injury is really going to do a number on his career, which sucks. Especially considering we signed him to a long-term contract. Thankfully, it's only this year and next, and then we can opt out after that, and maybe we try to move him here before the All-Star break or before the trade deadline and see if we can get something in return and clear that off the books. Let's take a look at national amateurs. Not a whole lot there. Oh, Danny Cisneros is there. Good. We've got high scouting ability. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a no-brainer. He's the one we want. The one we want. So let's take a look at the team real quick. Figure out where we. So offensively, I think the biggest issue we have is at shortstop. See, Javi Baez is not getting it done, but the problem is we're paying him $20 million. We're not going to pay him $20 to sit on the bench. I think we just ride it out. I mean, defensively, he's still getting it done. You just have to hope that the average climbs a little bit with the warmer months, I guess. If he hits 240, I'll take it. Obviously, we can't tolerate a 189 batter, but yeah, we just sort of have to hope that he turns it around. Other than that, I'm not really in a position to move any of these players. I mean, the ones who aren't hitting to their potential, Mookie Betts, I'm not going to trade him. Joey Bart, I'm not going to trade him. Jimenez, I'm not going to trade him. Maybe a third baseman might be something we look for if we can find somebody who's significantly better. And then we can use Garcia in a super utility role. I'm not sure. Pitching-wise, we could use a starter. We get Syndergaard back in September, but that's September. So we could use a starter. So let's take a look and see what's on the trade. All right, there's nothing great, and you wouldn't expect there necessarily to be anything great. Frankie Montas isn't bad, really. I mean, his contract is up at the end of next season, and that's not an unreasonable contract. Yeah, that's not an unreasonable contract. He's got very little hustle. That's not bad. What would Oakland want for Frankie Montas? one of our 3-star guys. Can we? Trade one contract for another? It's an insult. Okay, well, Montas isn't a bad option. I'd like to aim a little higher than that if I could, though. If I'm going to take on contract for next year, I want it to be somebody a little higher level than that, I guess. And there really isn't an option. So what I might do is take a look at upcoming. Let's. So there are a couple. I mean, obviously Blake Snell is ours, but there are a couple of names on here. Severino, Aaron Nola might not be a bad option. Where are the Phillies? Are they 10.5 out? So moving Nola would be a potential option. One for Aaron. Okay, so they want one of our better players, but that means they're willing to talk. So that's an option. So look at batters. Third baseman in here anywhere? And Anderson from Miami. He's not bad, but he's not really an upgrade over what we have. Would be a step down defensively. What do we get if we look at this? Andujar would be a good offensive option, but he's a bad defensive baseman. So I think I have my sights set on Aaron Nola. So I'll mess around and see if I can bring in. Miguel Sano is always intriguing. That contact is just so bad, though, that I don't think it would play, especially when you consider the natural drop-off in power playing in San Francisco. I think what we do is just we try to stack our rotation. So I think Aaron Nola is probably target. See what I can put together there. I mean, Nola, Snell, and Syndergaard, if that's my top 3, I can go with rookies in 4 and 5 and be pretty content with that. So it may require us to be creative once we hit the end of the regular season to try to move on from some people, but I'm okay with it. So when we come back, it will be the trade deadline. Hopefully we will be +1 Aaron Nola. We'll take it from there. So I'll see you guys in a few minutes. All right, guys, we are back. It is the trade deadline, and it was a good month. July was stellar. There's no other way to put it. July, we were 19-6 after a 20-7 June. So 39-13 in our last 2 months. We did end up trading for Aaron Nola. We had to give up quite a bit, but nothing that was super painful. So we gave up Nick Stewart. So we gave up Nick Stewart, Alexander Canario, Lysander De La Cruz, Ervison Arteaga, and Luis Matos. Let's just take a look at the 5 players that we gave up here. Stewart, 23-year-old he was in Double-A for us. 3 good pitches, decent control. He looks to be a pretty good pitcher. Never going to blow anybody away, but he looks to be a decent starting pitcher. Young option for the there. Canario, center fielder. Sort of stagnated a little bit this year. I mean, he wasn't bad in Double-A, but it was a step down from last season. 23 years old, not a great outfielder. Pretty good at all 3 positions, but not outstanding. And we're pretty stacked in the outfield, so we felt like this was somebody that could move on from without too much pain. Sander De La Cruz, 21-year-old starting pitcher. 3 good pitches, really good movement, pretty poor control, and below average stuff. He was a 21-year-old in split time between short season and A-ball. One thing he has going for him is that he is a ground ball pitcher, so the fact that he does not a super high a high velocity guy. He's only 2 stars, so I was fine with that. Averson Ortega. He was one that I didn't really want to give up. You can see he's got pretty good hitting ratings. He's going to be an elite fielding shortstop. 20-year-old in A-ball who had been really hitting. Well, I guess he was in rookie ball for us, and he was hitting really well. He's been in A-ball for the Phillies, and he's well there. So he is somebody that I was not crazy about giving up, but we had still have Tolentino, our second round pick from I think it was 2020. Yeah, second round pick in 2020. He's going to be as good, if not better, as shortstop. He's going to be a better hitter, and he's moving up the ranks. So by the time it's time to move on from Javi Baez, Tolentino should be ready to there. So not a huge problem giving up Ortega. And then Luis Matos, a 21-year-old outfielder, left fielder, above average with the bat, above average speed, above average defensive player. So he's not a bad one. He's only 21, so a lot of room to grow there. But this was probably the best prospect of the bunch I gave up, either him or Stewart. Those were kind of the 2 big pieces in that deal. And in return, we get 30-year-old Aaron Nola. Nola's contract is up at the end of this season. I don't suspect that I will be able to re-sign both Snell and Nola, but I'm going to make every effort to. I really am going to try to bring them both back. If we have to make some sacrifices elsewhere, so be it, but we'll see what happens. Nola's had a really good year for Philly, came over and has done really, really well for us. His first 2 starts were really bad. He pitched on the 4th of July, gave up 7 runs in an inning. His start before that, actually, no, this was his first start. I'm sorry. Second start gave up 4 runs in 6, and you can see his last 3 starts. He's pitched 23 and a third innings, given up only 2 hits, struck out 28. So his last 3 starts, he's been phenomenal. Overall, 20 hits in 30 innings, striking out 31. He's great. So we made that deal. The other thing we had to do was we had to move on from Corbin Burns, and unfortunately we needed to just cut him. Nobody was interested in taking on his contract, at least not with anything less than 100%. So I figured if I had to eat 100% of his contract, I was just going to cut him. We did waive him. He's currently a free agent. You can see his numbers have continued to drop. That elbow injury really did him in, unfortunately. It was really, really good for us for 2.5 seasons. Decision to move on from him. So that was a tad unfortunate. If you look at our team, again, 69 and 37, 6 games up on the Dodgers. Offense has been pretty solid this year compared to where we've been in the past. Pitching staff continues to be outstanding, and even our defense is better than it had been. You can see home runs are really spread out. We have 8 guys with more than 10 already. Our pitching staff has been very, very good. So let's take a look at everything. Get Syndergaard back in a month. We'll get him back kind of right at the beginning of September. Probably rehab with him up through the end of the year and then bring him back come season. So Adam Hazley now leads the team in WAR, 3.9 WAR. On base percentage has slipped a little under 400, but still over a 900 OPS, providing some good pop at the top of the order, getting on base a lot. He's been great. Matt Olson, 31 home runs, on pace for 47 and 116. This was a trade that going to go down as probably one of the best I've made in Out of the Park 21, especially when you have it on very hard and favoring prospects. To get somebody of this caliber is not very common. If you look at what we gave up, guys are really doing much for Oakland. So good deal for us there. Matt Olson's been fantastic. Keston Hira continues to play well, 3.4. He was hurt for a little while last month, but still 935 OPS, hit that 20 home run mark. Mookie Betts starting to hit a little bit. He's got his average up to 256, 814 OPS, good for almost 3 WAR. But the big thing is he's got 24 home runs. I really didn't think he would hit for a lot of power. I figured his home run power would drop and he would hit more doubles, and it's been the exact opposite. So still on pace for a 4-win season, even though his average is a little light. So if he can get that average up to 270 by the end of the year, he'll be kind of right where you would have anticipated. Joey Bart, power's starting to creep up a little bit. His slugging has increased about 30 points in the last month, good for 2.5 WAR. Luis Garcia, he's only been out for a few days, but his season is starting to kind of get to where we would have anticipated. He's up about a 750 OPS. Slugging is increased. He's got a lot of extra base power, if not a lot of home run power. Daz Cameron has continued to hit really well. The Phillies really wanted Cameron in that trade for Nola. I had to spend quite a bit of time sort of maneuvering to make the deal happen without him. Cameron's been really, really good in a backup outfield role for us, so glad we were able to hang on to him. Jimenez and Baez both struggling a bit. Jimenez is really kind of having a down season from his time with us last year. Baez has got his average up over 200 finally. He's up to 209. I mean, it's amazing that he's good for 1.1 WAR considering he's hitting 209 and he's struck out 119 times in 102 games. But his defense is that good. So because his defense is that good, we can keep him in the lineup and not have to worry too much about it. And then you got our bench. No one is really doing anything spectacular, but that's why they're our bench. Valera, Freitas, Wyatt, and Smith. Smith is having a bit of a disappointing season. I kind of was hoping for more out of him. He's actually dropping. His ratings are actually dropping at shortstop while he gains time at first base. So he's having a bit of a down season. That's kind of disappointing. Pitching. Blake Snell, already good for 5 WAR on the year. He's 15-3, on pace for more than 20 wins. 23-5. He's on a pace to go for us. 174 Ks and 137 innings. It's nuts. Aaron Nola, we've already talked a little bit about him. Corbin Martin having another good year, even if the record doesn't indicate it. 3.4, 2.8 FIP. Striking out more than a batter an inning. He's been great. Jorge Molina, best free agent signing we've had in our 4 years managing the Giants. Low 2s ERA, 27 saves this year, 41 a year ago. 63 strikeouts, only 6 walks in 42 innings. He's been really, really good. Emilio Vargas continues to fill in nicely for Syndergaard. 2.55 ERA, 99 innings. He's 10-2, which is a bit of a surprise. He's doing a nice job. Anthony Kay having a nice season, 4.22 ERA, 9-6. We moved Luis Castillo to the bullpen. He hasn't pitched a whole lot. He probably won't going forward. We'll just kind of call that one a bust and let him walk when the season ends. Tariq Skubal continues to just be lights out. He's down to a 1.48 ERA now. 12.5 Ks per 9. Austin Adams, look at that. 15.9 Ks per 9 innings. So even that 5.2 walks isn't going to hurt you when you're only giving up 19 hits in 43 innings. So fantastic there. So I don't think, I may mess around here on, it's the trade deadline, so I may mess around a little bit to see if there's anything else we could pick up. I don't know what we could possibly need. Maybe a bat off the bench, and we could move Wyatt back down since he's not really hitting. Maybe a left-handed power bat off the bench. Let's see if this exists. Left-handed. Tendy's not a power bat, but he's lefty. Basically the same thing as Valera. Really seeing a left-handed power bat there. Have for upcoming agents, is there a bat in there? Not really. Blanco, maybe? Thought about signing him in the offseason, but he wanted to be a starter. He still wants to be a starter, but we're not going to Dodgers, so it's not going to. Yeah, I think we're going to kind of hold tight and run with what we have. We get Syndergaard back in a month. Some of our offensive players are starting to come around a little bit. Mookie's starting to come around. Baez just a tad is starting to come around. But all in all, I'm pretty pleased with where this team stands at the trade deadline. So next episode, and Parker Ball, our number 1 pick, is the number 29 prospect in baseball. So we made the right move picking him and making him a starter. He's been really, really good in rookie ball. So in fact, I think to promote him to low A. Now we got to kind of fast track him. We need to he either needs to make it work or he doesn't, because he is only 22. But really good start from our number 1 pick this year, so that's nice. So when we come back, it'll be the end of the season. We'll do an end of the season recap. We'll do the postseason, and hopefully it'll be a victorious postseason. So as always, leave a like, subscribe, let me know your thoughts, and until we talk again, everybody take care. Bye-bye.